Alright, hello everyone. So if you've been following the channel, you know I do like the Horus Heresy from Games Workshop, and just wanted to give my brief thoughts on this new miniatures. And I have to say, I really don't like what they seem to be doing with the Horus Heresy. So in the setting of the Horus Heresy, this mark of armor, this is the, which mark is it? Mark 6. This comes in the background material at the very end of the Horus Heresy. It's not really used in any of the novels. The main armor marks in the Heresy are Mark 3, so this one, which I like a lot, and Mark 4. And I have my Horus Heresy small army that I've shown on the channel that is both Mark 3 and Mark 4 Space Marines. But I think this miniature on its own, I like it. It's a Space Marine. It's pretty cool. No problem there. But it really is, and this is just not really, doesn't really work. I'll get to that in a second. But basically, to me, this is just more Games Workshop being very fast and loose with the established, background material that's been built up. And we can see this is not really, to me, what the Horus Heresy should look like. He's kind of tactical, and, he's got the finger, looks like a modern, operator. Not really the knight in space kind of feel that you would get out of these stories. But the other thing is, they made a preview trailer. All of the Marines are in this armor mark, and so clearly they want this to be the main figure in the new relaunch of the Horus Heresy, the new rules that they are putting out. This guy, as a Legion Praetor, does not really fit the look, to me, of most of the Legions. He's really blocky and looks, he's supposed to be a generic one, but I think this doesn't really fit with many of the Legions. Could work for the Sons of Horus, which is, I guess, what they're going for. But I mean, for the other Legions, definitely for my Alpha Legion, doesn't really fit, because I can show you quickly while I pull this up, show you quickly the different Praetors. And I have a bigger point with this that I'm going to get to. Let's go to the... So, just finding another... Okay, so just picked out two. So look, if we take a look here, here's the Blood Angels Praetor. So this fits with their overall look and feel. Very gothic sci-fi, and same with Alpha Legion Praetor. I've painted one of these, showed it on the channel. This doesn't really fit with either of those legions, and clearly you can just tell the scaling is a lot different. And I think the scaling on this new Mark 6 Marine is probably going to be different from the Mark 3 and Mark 4. Maybe it's just the photography, but it looks like they've changed it. So this is more Games Workshop well, put it politely, foolishness, and they're just changing everything. And now everybody, for Horus Heresy, they're going to push it so you have to make everyone has beaky Marines, and then everyone that in the community that doesn't really care about consistency is going to say, "Oh well, the beaky Marines, it's fine, it's fine." To me, this is like if you were going to have a World War II German army, and the gaming group you're with said, "Oh, okay, we're playing a campaign set in 1939, invasion of Poland. So when you come with your World War II forces, you should be your army should fit the 1939 opening years, 1940 years of the war." And then you rock up with a force of late war Germans, Waffen SS, let's say, with Sturmgewehrs and camo smocks. Okay, that's two different things. It's two completely different things. And I guess you could say, well, it's sci-fi. It doesn't really matter, but it does matter. And to have these, just to have this stuff not really care or not really be consistent and not really pushed heavily by the company, it's just kind of annoying. And I'm sort of worried that in order to make everything the same, they're going to they might pull production on the Mark III and the Mark IV Marines, so everybody has to buy the new Mark VI Marines. I'm not saying that'll happen. I don't know. I hope they don't do that. But that's just what I'm thinking they might do. So, this is one of the frustrations I have, and I feel like I sort of missed the boat in some respects in playing Horus Heresy when it was more supported. But I have a bigger point with this. I sort of get the impression that Games Workshop in general is transitioning to basically being the way the comic book companies are now, Marvel and DC. So obviously people still buy comic books, people still read them, but it's not nearly to the degree that, in decades past, people were buying and reading comic books. Basically, the companies now serve as a way for them to produce material, produce stories that can be leveraged and licensed to other media, other types of media. So, video games, obviously, for Warhammer, potentially movies. I think they're talking about making like a Netflix show or something based on one of the Dan Abnett novels. I haven't kept track of that in a while, but I've heard that before. I've read that before. And, various other things that they can license this stuff out to. And to me, that kind of fits with the way they've, and this goes back a long time. This isn't really a last 5 years thing. This is a last 20 years thing. The way they've handled the miniatures, especially. I started wargaming in about 2008 or 2008, I think, 2009 maybe, when I was a young teenager. You could buy so this is a Cadian sort of set, but basically the basic infantry box, if I can find it, and I've discussed a lot of this on the channel before. Let's see, Armies of the Imperium. you could buy basically you could buy the standard infantry squad. Here we go, Canadian shock troops. You could buy the standard infantry squad for about the same price. It was definitely cheaper. I think it was like $30 or something, and it had 40. I think it had 30 or 40 miniatures, something like that. I think it was 30. It was definitely more than a Space Marine box in terms of model count. Now it's 10 for $50. But my point with this is not just to complain about the prices. I've done that a lot on this channel. It's to show that it seems that the company, the people that run the company, want just a vanity product. You know, the miniatures are just a vanity product. They're not really meant to be bought to game with. And you just have, you know, this miniature vanity product, and then the real money, it comes from you know, all this licensing stuff. And that's what that seems to be what they want to do. So that's my little soapbox about that. You know, and the other thing is they keep trying to make the game have, you know, this mythical mass audience that they'll be able to get for it. This stuff is not really suitable for large audience. It's really kind of obtuse, and the aesthetics are very strange to an outsider. You know, I love it. I've loved it for a long time, but the old school Marines, sort of like this, and sort of stuff like this, is not kind of weird compared to other sci-fi universes, but that's kind of why they've had to do more of this sort of sleek World of Warcraft kind of style. You know, and I guess my last comments about this is just for people to know that there's a whole world of, the hobby is not this, you know, and Games Workshop does a good job of making you think this is the only option. And, you know, when you're kind of a kid or a teenager like I was, you kind of think that because nobody in your area probably plays these other games. But there's more to the hobby than this. They don't have a monopoly on it, even though they are the biggest company. The hobby is miniature tabletop wargaming, which existed long before Games Workshop and will continue to exist after them. So, you know, it's totally ridiculous that this company just sucks all the oxygen out of the hobby at this point, especially when they deliver increasingly a product that is not very satisfying. And personally, I'm kind of stuck. Well, you know, when I'm living back in the United States, you know, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because, you know, my local gaming groups only do Warhammer, and trying to get people into historical games is really, really hard, unless you go to conventions a lot, and obviously the last couple of years that, you know, hasn't really been an option. Hopefully that'll start coming back in the foreseeable future, but this is just not really very good. And I think the best thing for the war games hobby might be for Games Workshop to slowly lose prominence. I don't know if that'll happen, but you know, that's the way I see this moving forward. And overall, I just think this shifting, this changing of the Horus Heresy is disappointing, but not really all that surprising. You know, it was sort of inevitable that they were going to have to water it down so they could chase this mythical wider audience that, you know, wargaming is not really going to ever have. Let's face it, you know, it's a very niche hobby. It's very particular, and you know, all this stuff is not, you know, it's not going to be something that a large swath of the population will get into, and I don't really see that as a bad thing. So anyway, I think I've gone on about this long enough, and let me know your thoughts if you have any in the comments, and I will talk to you all in the next video.